Now let's look at the Pearl Harbor attack. The Pearl Harbor attack, and this one, it was one of the aggressions. If you can remember the aggressions of Japan, that's what we are going to talk about this time. So this time, the Second World War, is now in place. And in 1941, we see there was that Japanese aggression. So what happened was that we have to understand, we have to know that USA and Britain, they were trade partners. They were important trade partners of China. That is, they were trading with China. And the USA was worried with the expansion plans of Japan into the southeast of Asia. Remember when we were looking at the policy of Asia for Asians by the Japanese. During that time, Japan was geared to get all Asia into its place to dominate Asia, just as USA dominated the other side. So in 1937, Japan attacked China with the excuse of creating a new order in East Asia that would free the region from the Western imperialism. So we talked about this last time, and you have to remember these things. Remember these things for sure. Now, what happened was that after that attack, USA demanded the Japanese withdraw from China. Why withdrawing from China? Remember, we have just said that China was the important trade partner with Britain and USA. So that's why when in 1937 Japan attacked China, that one did not go well with USA because Japan attacked the trade partner of USA. So that's why USA demanded the immediate withdrawal of Japan from China. So in 1941, Japan invaded French Indochina and set up the military base there in that area, the French Indochina. That is the part which was controlled by the French. And that part of China, it was just in the Indochina part. Remember, or if you check your atlas there, you see that India makes the border with China. So that area, the Indochina, is the part that makes the boundary with India. So that is the part. So after this, USA then responded quickly. What did USA do? Number one, USA imposed economic sanctions. Remember the sanctions? And on those sanctions, USA stopped oil supplies to Japan, and the result was so bad to the economy of Japan. And secondly, USA demanded withdrawal from China and French Indochina. So USA demanded that Japan should immediately withdraw. And number three, USA Congress introduced the compulsory military service and announced plans of its navy. So there, the parliament, the Congress there in USA agreed to say, this time enough is enough. Now, boys and girls, or those who have finished Form 4 secondary education, come here for battle, come here for military service. We are getting ready to join the Second World War because USA was annoyed by Japan. The USA refused also to end the sanctions unless Japan withdrew from China and Indochina. So other countries came to ask USA to say, no. Look at how Japan, Japan is suffering now because of the sanctions imposed by USA. So may you please withdraw the sanctions. So USA refused to do that unless Japan had to withdraw from China and Indochina. So what happened was this. On 7th December 1941, the Japanese Air Force, they attacked the American naval base at the Pearl Harbor. Remember, we are looking at this one, the Pearl Harbor attack, 1941. So this one, it took place, it happened on 7th December 1941. And the Japanese Air Force, they attacked the base, the US base at the Pearl Harbor. The Pearl Harbor is just there. It's just there in the Pacific Ocean, I guess. So it's there. So there was a military base for the USA there. So the Japanese, they sent their air force there, the aeroplanes carrying the bombs, and they what they did there, they knocked out it. It was a quick knockout blow because it took USA unaware. And this one was planned by Admiral Yamamoto. Admiral is a very, very high rank. It's a high rank in the military there. So Yamamoto was the one who planned that attack. So you can see the reason there why the Japanese attacked the USA. They were not happy with whatever USA was doing, because it was like USA was trying to intervene in whatever Japan was doing in Asia. Remember, Japan was advocating Asia for Asians. So with the involvement of USA, Japan was not happy. That's why they planned this attack. So the Japanese, they destroyed a lot of things. They destroyed 350 American aircrafts and 5 battleships. When we say battleships, they are big, very big ships than our Irara. So very big ships. So 5. Remember, we looked at the battleships when we were looking at the First World War during the arms race. Germany and Britain, they were competing. The Germans, they made their own, the Panzer, and the British. Remember, they made the HMS Dreadnought, Her Majesty's ship, Dreadnought. So there was that competition of the manufacture of those big ships. So you can see to it, if there were big ships in during the First World War, what kind of ships were there in the Second World War? They were the improved ones, the big ones, and those ones were, or the Americans ones, they were destroyed by the Japanese. 5 battleships, about 5 of them, they were destroyed. And on 8th December, so remember, it took place on 7th December. On 8th December, USA then declared war on Japan, to say, all right, now you have scratched on the wound. So we are going to face each other now, Japan. So USA entered the war on 8th December 1941. So Britain and the Netherlands also declared war on Japan, because this time around Japan proved to be more aggressive. So Britain, remember, had the colonies. Remember the 1902, if you can remember the 1902, the Anglo-Japanese Treaty? Why was there that Anglo-Japanese Treaty? Remember, the Japanese, they promised to say, we are going to safeguard the British colonies. So the British, still more, they had those areas there, they had those colonies there. So they wanted to safeguard them. That's why they declared war into this, a long-time friend in 1902 friend now becomes an enemy in this year, 1941. So it's so interesting. No permanent friend, no permanent enemy here. That's what we are learning here. And Germany and Italy declared war on USA. So Germany, Italy are declaring war on USA. Why Germany? Why Italy declaring war on USA? Why? Remember, Japan, Germany, and Italy. They are the Axis powers. They are the powers that are fighting against Britain, France, and others. Therefore, a war on a friend of them, it is a war on them. That's why they declared war on USA to say, all right, USA, you have declared war on Japan, our friend. We are also declaring war on you. So after the Pearl Harbor bombing, then Japan controlled the Pacific Islands, including Burma, Malaya, Dash, East, Dash East Indies, and Manchuria. Remember Manchuria? We talked about Manchuria. We had ever mentioned about Manchuria. Remember these things. So after that Pearl Harbor attack, then Japan dominated the Pacific. So the Pacific Islands, all those areas that were previously controlled, or the colonies of the Western countries, now they have become under Japan. So Japan took control of that. Now the war is on. The war is fought. The war is on and on. Now here we see the fall of Italy. We see the big powers now, they are fully fledged now on the war. Now Italy is falling. So in July 1943, the American and the British troops, they landed at Sicily. Sicily, this one is a historical place from the BCs. If you have ever heard about the Hannibal Scipio Africanus, the wars, there were the wars there between Carthage and Rome sometime back around 220 BC. There were those wars. Then they were fighting in one of the battles. Carthage and Rome. They were fighting for domination of Sicily, the island of Sicily. So Sicily was part of Italy. So you know Italy, that is Rome. Now the Americans in 1943, they came there. They landed at Sicily, which means they entered Italy and dominated there. And what happened was that Italy was easily defeated, and Mussolini himself was removed as a leader. Remember Mussolini, the dictator of Italy, the best friend of who? Adolf Hitler. And his successor, Marshal Badogoria, he signed the armistice, the ceasefire with the Allies. When you talk of the Allies, the Americans and the British, the French, they made up the Allies. So Italy signed that treaty to say, all right, now Italy is now withdrawing from the war. So Italy did not just withdraw the war and stay quiet. So Italy, or one of the agreements was that she was to help the Allies fight against the friends of Italy. So it is really quite bad there. Yesterday you were fighting against someone whom today you are going to align with to fight against your friend. Sometimes it is really so not good at all. So Italy then switched to the side of the Allies. Remember, this one you cannot forget. You cannot forget this one for the reason that, remember what happened in 1915. Italy signed the Treaty of London. Italy was also one of the Triple Alliance, if you can remember, during the First World War. The Triple Alliance. Germany, there was Germany, Italy, and who? Guess, Austria-Hungary. They made up the Triple Alliance. Now those ones, they were fighting against the Triple Entente. But during that First World War, Italy did not join the war to the side of Germany. She signed the London Treaty, whereby she also joined the war to the side of the Allies, the same Britain, France, and her friends. So that's what happened. So maybe it was the behavior. It was the behavior of Italy of switching sides. So we never know the Italians what they were thinking there. Now let's look at the Holocaust. Italy is now fighting to the side of the British or the Allies. Now there was the Holocaust. What was the Holocaust? The Holocaust, it was the deliberate mass murder of the Jews. When we just mention murder of the Jews, it cannot skip your mind, because who murdered the Jews in masses? It was none other than Adolf Hitler. So the Nazi rounded up the Jews and confined them into the ghettos or sent them into the concentration camps. So the Nazi, the Gestapo, see, those ones, they were getting the Jews and packing them in dilapidated areas. That's why we call them the ghetto. They put them in the ghetto there or in the concentration camps. So there, the conditions there in the concentration camps, they were horrible conditions. They were living in tiny rooms with each person given 2.5 loaves of bread per month. 2.5 loaves of bread per month. Understand that one? They are in the room. They will not go anywhere to find an alternative food, but they are given food. And the food that they are given is 2.5 loaves of bread per month. Can you survive? So they were put there to die slowly there. So many Jews died of disease, exhaustion, starvation. They died there. And anyone who tried to escape in the concentration camp there was murdered. So those who were unfit to work, because there sometimes they were taken, say, all right, come here, let's go to the farm and work. So those who were unfit, they were shot dead or gassed to death. So you can see that situation, it was really horrible. So on 20th July 1942, the Nazi, they launched what was called the final solution, the final solution to the Jewish question. Remember, why were they doing that? They wanted to create space, the living space for the pure Aryan race of the Germans. They wanted to get rid of everyone who had non-original blood of the German. So they called that one Lebensraum. So they launched the final solution on 20th January 1942. So the Jews were captured then and dispatched to death camps at Auschwitz, that is in Poland. So they were taken in large numbers there, and they went with them to Poland, where they were put in a room and fired gas on them so that they should be dying there to end up this question of the Jews, having the Jews in Germany. So they were gassed there. As we have said, they were gassed to die there. So the corpses, after they die there, then they were discarded in huge ovens, which burned 24 hours. So after they die there, then they were piled in fire there. They were burning there 24 hours. So it was like a Gehenna on earth there, 24 hours burning. So about 6 million Jews, close to 6 million Jews, they were killed during this Holocaust, the deliberate killing of the Jews. By 1945, about 6 million died. However, the Jews, the remnants still, they were not wiped out, all of them. They tried to resist. They resisted the Nazi by blowing the railways, attacking the German soldiers. So they were trying to use their intelligence, the Jews, at least to destroy what can end them, until a few survived. Now, let's look at the fall of Germany. Remember, we have just looked at the fall of Italy. So here we just digressed a little bit to look at what was the condition in Germany. The condition in Germany, that is the Holocaust. So on 6th June 1944, it was called the D-Day. The D-Day. Why D? It was a deliverance day for France. Remember, France was defeated by Germany. They surrendered because the soldiers, they did not want to fight. So because of that, then they surrendered, and they were forced to sign an armistice at the exact place where the Germans also signed the armistice in 1918. So it was the deliverance day for France and the D-Day, the doomsday for Germany. France was delivered, but doom was on Germany. What happened was that the Allied troops, they began to land at Normandy, a place there, Normandy beaches, to liberate France from the Germans. Then the German forces were overwhelmed by the Allied air supremacy because they came there with full force, the British and the Americans. So France was freed on 25th of August, 25th August 1944. Then France was liberated. Remember, these ones now, the Americans and the British, remember, how did they enter maybe France and maybe in to penetrate to Germany? They used first Italy. After they used Italy, they were using the same Italy as a base. So they were entering through Italy, then they could easily proceed to France as well as to Germany. That's why they liberated France easily. They also liberated France. Then the American and the British forces, these forces, then they invaded Germany from the western side. Because they liberated France, they entered France and took over France from the domination of Germany. Then it meant that since Germany was like here, this side was making boundary with the France. So France here, Germany here. So after Italy is somehow down here, but in between here there are some smaller countries. So after they entered Italy, then they went to France and liberated France, and therefore they entered now Germany from the western side. So that's what we are saying here, that they entered Germany from the west. They attacked, invaded Germany from the west. And it did not end there, because Russia also advanced from the eastern towards Berlin. So it was really a doomsday for Germany, because Russia was to the east. So Russia is here, and Russia is also advancing. Remember, Russia was fighting, was one of the allies. Therefore, while Britain and France and the USA, they are entering Germany through the west, then to the eastern side, then Russia is also entering. So it was really pathetic there. It was doomsday for Germany. So Hitler, what happened was that he married his mistress, a mistress by the name Eva Braun, on 29th April 1945. And on 30th April, they both committed suicide. Why? On the doomsday, things don't work. Things don't work when you are panic. You cannot remember what all the plans, the good plans you were doing. So the only solution for Adolf Hitler was to commit suicide just after marrying her beautiful mistress by the name Eva Braun. So on 8th May, Germany surrendered. Say they had left with nothing there, to say that Adolf Hitler feared to be captured. There we can see to it that feared to be captured or to be killed by the people whom he saw that they were not superior, they were not good people, the Westerners. So he committed suicide there because of that. So no one killed Adolf Hitler, but he killed himself. So the Germans surrendered on 8th May 1945. So Germany surrendered on that because their leader is not there anymore. So Germany is defeated. Adolf Hitler is no more. His aggressions have now come to an end. Now, having looked at this, it is really, it can be good now to look at the reasons, the factors for the defeat of Germany and her allies. Why were they defeated? Why? So in here, we are going to look at a number of factors why these ones were defeated. Yes, there were many factors, but we are going to look at a number or a few of them. The first one is that these Axis, the Axis powers, they made a lot of strategic mistakes. Number one was that during the invasion of Russia, Hitler hoped the campaign would not take long. He hoped that this one it would not last until the winter season. So that was a mistake. Why? Because they failed to capture Leningrad and Moscow, the capital city, in 1941. We looked at this one, if you can remember, we looked at this, we said that they met with the harsh weather there, the winter, and they did not the soldiers did not have the winter clothing, and most of them, they were freezed to death, while the Russians were prepared for that winter season, and they were just moving and defeating the Germans. Hence, the Germans, they withdrew from Russia. So it was a strategic mistake. So you remember, in war, you have to eliminate the mistakes, the errors, before you go to strike. Your plans has to be perfect. Look at the errors, eliminate them before you strike. Number two, why they were defeated. The Axis powers, they were defeated. Why? Shortage of raw materials. Germany and her allies, they lacked adequate raw materials for their industries. So Japan, for example, Japan and Italy, they relied heavily on the import such as oil. Remember, we have just said that the Japanese, they were importing oil from USA. And what if USA denies to export her oil? Then nothing in Japan. So there then, Italy, Japan, the friends of Germany, they were relying heavily on import. As a result, they could not withstand the pressure that was coming from their opponents. So on the other hand, the USA provided vast supplies to Britain and Russia. So with that then, it crippled Japan. Remember, we have just talked of the sanctions there. So when USA stopped delivering oil to Japan, that oil went to Britain and Russia. Therefore, the Russians and the British, they had more raw materials. The third one was the Allied improvement on previous failure. The Allies, British, Americans, and others, they improved their failures. They quickly learned how to deal with the the Blitzkrieg technique. The Blitzkrieg technique. Understand this one. The Blitzkrieg, it was a technique devised by Adolf Hitler, whereby they were using 3 ways of attacking. First, they were attacking by the air. If, for example, they want to attack, like maybe they're attacking a city like Blantyre, they want to take over Blantyre. The first thing, they would throw the bombs on Blantyre. The bombs, boom! Immediately, when people are still under panic, then they were sending the passengers now, the tankers. They were coming there with full force there. As they were not enough, then the soldiers now on foot now, they were there in that area, and immediately they were invading the area to say, yes, here we cannot do anything here. German has come with the thunder. So it was called the Blitzkrieg, the thunder technique. So that was how Germany was defeated one country after the other. Remember, defeated France, defeated Norway, Holland, and others. It was doing that one, the Blitzkrieg. So the Allied forces, the British, the Americans, the Russians, they learned how to deal with this thunder technique of the Germans. So what did they do? Was that they effectively used air support and aircraft in their campaigns. So what they were doing again was that they were also counterattacking those planes to say, oh, those are the planes for the Germans. They are coming this direction. Then they were counterattacking. So they learned how to do that. So the British also developed the radar device that was used to detect the enemy aircraft and the submarines. So they developed the radar. Even up to now, the radar is used usually in the airports. They use the radar to detect, say, all right, there's a plane or it is moving in this direction, things like those. So they use the radar. So it was devised or invented by the British. They developed that one. And another reason why the German lost was that the Allied combined the resources. That is, USA, Britain, Russia, their combined resources. They were more than those of Germany. So the Americans produced more war machines, such as the tanks, than those of Germany, and Japan. So the British, they pulled human resource and material resources from the vast empire in Asia and Africa. So understand this one now. Understand very well. We are saying that America was producing war machines, and Britain, on the other hand, was producing material resources and human resources from the vast empire. Remember, this one should remind you of the policy of splendid isolation of some time back. During the 1880s, what was happening was this. While France and others, they were busy making the alliances, that one did not concern Britain. Why? Because Britain was already fair, was already good. She dominated a quarter of the planet. So she was busy controlling her colonies in Asia as well as in Africa. So those colonies were there up to this time of the Second World War. But then, during this time now, in order to have more resources to defeat the Axis powers, then they combined their resources. The Americans, they were producing the machines. And the British, they were coming to Africa. get the Africans, bring them to the war fronts, and fight on their behalf. In that way, they ably defeated the British, the Germans. So these resources, they gave them advantage over the Axis powers. German did not have more colonies to come here and get a resource, colonies. Colony of Germany was, remember we talked of Tanzania as a colony, and many others, a few others talk of, was it Namibia, things like those. So they were not many, but most of them, they were dominated by the Allies, France as well as Britain. So they could just come here, get the people, and bring them to the war fronts. That's why at some point in time, even here, we are honoring the war veterans, those who fought in the Second World War, but currently we don't know if they are still alive. But still more, even here in Malawi, some of them, they went there to fight in the Second World War. Now, the collapse of Japan. This one, you have to understand it very well. The collapse of Japan, this one, is somehow another story. It's another story. On 6th August 1945, an American bomber by the name Enola Gay. Enola Gay is the name of someone, not that he was gay, no, but Enola Gay was his name. So he dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima, and about 70,000 people were killed instantly, and many more died due to radiation effects. And another atomic bomb, the first one was saying that it was dropped on Hiroshima. Killed how many people? About 70,000 instantly. And thereafter, it followed that many people, they died due to radiation effect. We know when we talk of the things of Kairekera things, the nuclear things, uranium things, those are deadly things. Uranium things are deadly things. So it was an atomic bomb. It blasted there in an instant. In a twinkling of an eye, 70,000 people died. Another atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki on 9th. The first one on 6th, the second one on 9th, and 36,000 people died instantly and many more afterwards. So this bomb, you have to understand that it was really a deadly one, an atomic bomb. There are the things like what we are talking of this time, the things of North Korea, whereby if North Korea can blast those things, the world cannot be there in an instant. In a twinkling of an eye, the world cannot be there. So that's why the world is really panicking to stop those things from blasting. Otherwise, those who die, they are not the soldiers alone. They are not the bad people alone. They are not the satanic alone. They are all the people, the innocent, the bad, and the good. They all die because a bomb is a bomb. It doesn't select. So that's why blasting a bomb is not good. It's not good. You kill innocent people. We hear in different countries people are dying because of the suicide bombers. They carry the bombs, they blast them in the marketplace, innocent people die. And those two bombs, by the way, they were aimed at finishing Japan because number one, they are saying that those bombs, they were dropped because the Japanese, the fighting techniques, the kung fu, they were they were delaying the end of the war because Germany, the owner of the war, is already out of the war. So why should we take time with Japan? So they wanted to put the war to a quick end. So they wanted to remove Japan from the map. And by the way, that bomb was targeting Tokyo. And when they went to Tokyo, they found that there was fog, there was mist there. That's why it dropped on Hiroshima. The second one found that the mist was still there, dropped at Nagasaki. But otherwise, today we would have been talking that there is no Tokyo, there is no capital city of Japan. It was dissolved by the USA. So we thank God that God intervened and it was not there, because in Tokyo, that's where many people were. So it was to kill millions and not thousands. That bomb was to kill millions in an instant. So on 14th August 1945, the Japanese Emperor Hirohito, he ordered a surrender to say Japan must surrender. Japan must must accept that yes, we cannot go further with the war. The Americans, if they can bring another bomb, 4 or 5 or 6 of the same nature, then it means that all the Japanese, it will be their end. They will only meet their people, the fellow humans in heaven. So Japanese Emperor Hirohito, he said yes, Japan must endure the unendurable. We must accept that, yes, much as we have the fighting spirit. Remember, there were those fighting traditions, military traditions. We talked about them in Japan. So because of those military traditions, then people could not surrender the Japanese. That's why they were training the kung fu and the like. So they were using all the techniques to defeat the American soldiers. So that's why the Americans, they said, no, enough is enough. Let's put the war to a quick end. So the emperor said, yes, Japan must endure the unendurable. So why did the Americans drop that atomic bomb? We have talked about that. So here, historians, they have come with a number of suggestions for this atomic bomb. Number one, to force Japan to an unconditional surrender, say a quick surrender. They believed that Japan would not surrender the way they were fighting their kung fu. No, the Americans were always taken by surprise, to say a man with a gun being defeated by a man with a knife. So it proved to the Americans to say a gun cannot defeat the Japanese. So we have to use the atomic bomb. Secondly, they wanted to prevent the huge loss of the American lives. See, they wanted to reduce the American lives, the loss of American lives, because the American soldiers were dying in numbers there, because usually they were taken by surprise. Those the militaries of Japan, they were fighting really for their lives, and the Americans were dying in large numbers. Thirdly, they wanted to teach Japan a bitter lesson, since she treated the American prisoners of war cruelly. So, as we are saying here, American soldiers were being captured, others were being killed. Those were captured as prisoners of war. Those ones, the prisoners of war, those ones, they were treated cruelly. So America wanted to teach a lesson, to say you cannot mess with the Americans. No, one American is worth thousands of other people. So they value so much the American. So they said, we are going to teach you a big lesson that you are going to learn throughout the history of the existence of Japan. And another one, why they dropped the atomic bomb, was that they invested huge sums of money on the bomb project. Therefore, they wanted to use it for its purpose. This atomic bomb, it took billions of the Americans. So they wanted to make sure that these billions, they come into effect. They come into effect. And also they wanted to show Japan that America is far much ahead of you. So if you think like you can fight with the Americans, you are too young. You are too young. So they wanted to show their military superiority. Right. So remember, we have come to the end of that topic. So the Americans, they dropped that bomb. Remember in 1941 again, the Japanese, they took America by surprise by defeating them or capturing the Pearl Harbor. So maybe it can be one way of a revenge. You know, the Americans, sometimes you cannot understand them. Yeah, sometimes they keep campaigning kumbahasa. Remember Bin Laden? He did that one in 201, but campaign Kumbhasa still went on up to 2011, hunting Bin Laden, and they gunned Bin Laden down. But in the process of bringing down Bin Laden, see, America had made a lot of blunders without regarding or respecting maybe the existence of or the sovereignty of other countries in the Middle East. See, maybe we talk of countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, those countries. See, up to bringing down the government of Afghanistan to say, okay, because Bin Laden comes from Afghanistan. Afghanistan, it means terrorism, Al Qaeda, what, and to Afghanistan down. And they used the same Afghanistan to enter Pakistan without the permission of the Pakistan and bring Bin Laden down. So sometimes the Americans, they keep campaigning Kumbasa for quite some time. So we can, no wonder maybe they brought that atomic bomb on Japan. It was still campaign Kumbasa of 1941. Japan bombed the Pearl Harbor. Now let's revenge. It can be like that. But historians have come up with those suggestions. So we have come to the end of this topic, causes and the results of the Second World War. So next time, it will be another very good lesson. Very good one. Very good topic. This good topic, you are going to enjoy, really enjoy this good topic. And this one is the formation of the United Nations organization. Formation of the United Nations organization. So till next time, thank you so much. But I'll be giving you essays. I'll be giving you questions, brief questions. Remember to answer them. Remember to answer those questions correctly. Yeah, the simple questions, just do them simple. If they are hard, do them hard, but just do it. Thank you so much.
Simutaya nthawi yanu kufunafuna maphunziro muzakhala wotumidwa moyo wanu wonse. Ngati simuphunzira anthu azingokutumani ajala kalime ajala kuchwe manyazi ajala katende yanti ndipo anthu ophunzira wandu wotuma so kwambiri. Ndiye ngati simuphunzira skulu akuyikirani aba mukhala otumidwa.